guess what we're making today? That's right, the Pillsbury Halloween cookies. Except for we're making them from scratch and gluten-free, because me and my family, we're all gluten-free. My sister asked for these a while ago, and so I thought I'd make them for her because, you know, it's officially Halloween season. It's October now. So let's get right into it. Come on, let's go to the kitchen. Alright, now that we're in the kitchen, we have to measure out our dry ingredients. So first, we're going to measure out 100 grams of sorghum flour. Now we're measuring out 65 grams of white rice flour. Now this is 50 grams of brown rice flour. Alright, now we're doing 28 grams of tapioca starch, but I actually ran out of tapioca starch and I only had like 10 grams, so I just replaced the rest with potato starch, which we also need an additional 20 grams of. But it works fine. They're both starches. The cookies didn't spread. It was fine. Alright, now I'm putting in 3 grams of xanthan gum, but I'm actually using guar gum. They're basically interchangeable in recipes. They're just binders that help imitate gluten. And then we're also going to add 2.5 grams of baking soda. Now we're adding 2 grams of salt, and that is our dry mix done. Alright, now we have to cream together butter and sugar. So first we're going to add 1 stick of butter, which is about 112 grams, and you want this butter to be softened, so you can leave it out for a few hours before you bake, or you can pop it into the microwave for 5 to 10 second intervals until it's nice and soft. You don't want it to be melted though. Then we also added in 150 grams of sugar, and we cream that together until it is well combined. While that's mixing, we want 1 egg, which should be about 55 grams worth of egg. And then we are going to add in 5 grams of vanilla, and 10 grams of molasses. This just gives it a nice little brown sugar taste. You could just use brown sugar in place of the molasses and in place of some of the white sugar, but I like adding molasses to my cookies. I feel like it gives it a more fresh flavor, if you know what I mean. Now we blend that all together until it is well mixed, and then we add our dry mix that we set aside earlier, and once that's all combined, it should form a nice solid dough. Once your dough's been formed, you can divide that into 3 bowls, 1 to dye green, 1 to dye orange, and then 1 to leave plain. We're going to start with our orange. You add red and yellow food coloring until you get the desired color, and then you knead it all together until it is a nice smooth color. You don't really want any marbling because you want it to all be one uniform color. Then we're going to do the same thing for the green, and again, you don't want any marbling because you want it to be one uniform color, so you just gotta knead it until it finally is one color. Now we're gonna flour our countertop to prep it for rolling out our cookie dough and forming our little pumpkin shape. First, I'm cutting out the mouth, which I'm just using the undyed cookie dough for because it's white in the classic Pillsbury cookie. This took me a couple different tries. I decided a knife was the best way to do it. I'd originally just been trying to like mold it with my hands, but that did not go so well. So if you're gonna do this at home, just use a knife and just cut it out like I just did in the video. Then we're gonna pop that in the freezer because we want it to be nice and solid so then the shape doesn't get distorted at all. Now we're going to make the eyes, and the eyes are like half green and half like white. So get a little ball of green, 2 little balls of green. And then get your plain cookie dough and squish that together until an eye forms, And we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the mouth, and we're just gonna pop those in the freezer so then they get to chill. Now we're going to mold the pumpkin stem, and I just cut it out like I did with the mouth, and then just rounded out the edges a little bit. Then you're going to want to pop that one in the freezer as well, so then it can get nice and solid before we try to add it to the actual pumpkin. I started off by molding around the mouth and just taking my orange cookie dough that was warm and malleable and pressing it around the mouth until I got a nice bottom jaw shape for the pumpkin. I don't know if you'd consider that a jaw. I'll consider it a jaw just for the purpose of this. Then I added the eyes in and formed the little over the brow part with more orange cookie dough. And I had to add some green and white back into the eyes because I didn't make them tall enough, but it was fine in the end. Then I added the pumpkin stem on, and I had to do a little bit of surgery here in just a moment because I realized his forehead looked really long, way too long. So there's me doing a little bit of cranial surgery, but eventually it got looking how I wanted it to. I covered it in a little bit of flour just so it wouldn't be quite so sticky and I wouldn't mess anything up. Added a little bit more orange around the side, and then I pressed the rest of the plain cookie dough that I had all around the pumpkin to form a nice solid circle. Once I finished forming that circle shape, I then patted around the edges to make sure it was nice and round, and then coated it in flour and then started rolling it into a log. Rolling into a log was kind of intimidating because I was kind of worried that the orange was going to spill out the sides, so I just cut it off with a knife, like you can see me do right here. But then once it was in the log form, I covered it in plastic wrap and popped it in the freezer for about 20 minutes. Once that had been frozen for a bit, I cut it up into little pieces, and the first ones I was so worried because they turned out so ugly. But then after I got through the initial messiness, they started coming out pretty cute. Like, look at that. I was pretty proud of myself here because I didn't think it would work. Once I finished cutting my cookies out, I put them onto a cookie sheet to get ready to bake. I preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and these baked for about 15 minutes, but you could probably do like 13 minutes because they were slightly overdone. But I was still pretty proud of how they turned out. I mean, look at those. They look pretty close to how the store-bought ones do. Hi, this is my little sister. She's the one who asked me to make these today. That's why we're making them. All right.
Wait, what are these?
They're like the Pillsbury cookies.
Okay.
But pumpkins. Okay. 3, 2, 1. I have no idea what these are supposed to taste like, but they taste good.
They're not undercooked though. They're supposed to be underbaked.
Why are they supposed to be underbaked?
That's what everyone does.
It is?
No one cooks them.
Why?
I don't know. Tastes good. Very pumpkin-y.
What?
Oh, I thought they were supposed to be pumpkin flavored.
They're not pumpkin flavored.
I'm trying to be kind.
They're regular flavored.
Oh.
It's just like vanilla.
Solid 8 out of 10.
Okay, bye! Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!